Hello everyone, welcome to Crafts by the Bow. Today I'm going to make a gatefold card, and it's quite a basic shape card. I make it a lot. It's this card, and it's just easy to use, DSP on it. You don't have any stamping if you don't want to do any stamping, but you don't have much stamping if you want to do a little bit on the inside. So let me show you how we make it. I'm going to be using the card pack from Petal Promenade, and earlier this week I made a card from this whole set, and I stamped and I used the card and I used the paper. So this is the second in my Petal Promenade set. So this has the mossy meadow, the cream and the powder pink, and then the paper is so pretty, and it has those colours in and a few extra as well. Let me just show you a few. This is the colour that I used last time, and it has the Blackberry Bliss in, and I also used it with a little bit of rich raspberry, which looked quite pretty with that too. And they are such pretty flowers. And Stampin' Up, what they did was they actually used real flowers, took photographs of them, and then made that into their DSP. So that's why it looks so lifelike. Now, this is the one I'm using today, but there were a couple of sheets in here that I thought, I'm not really going to use those, I'm sure I'm not. That was this one. I thought, what can I do with that? And then I thought, I could use it on the inside of a card and do my sentiment writing in this little space. But what I found was other demonstrators had used this for the fronts of their cards and stamped a nice sentiment here. So I might have a go at something like that as well. And the same with this. I didn't really know what I was going to do with this. And I thought, well, I can always use the back, because that's the joy of Stampin' Up things. You can always use the back. But actually, I'm going to use this piece in my card, and I'm going to use it on the inside for a sentiment. So let me pop those two pieces away. Doesn't want to go back in the bag, I don't think. Let's see. There we are. And I'll just put the card down as well, and we'll get started. So to start off, I'm going to put my book here with the sizings so that you know what I'm using and what size everything is. So this is my backing card, and I need it to be 8.5 by 5.5, and it needs to be scored on the ends at 2 1/8. And what I sometimes do with this is I'll score one at the 2 1/8. Make sure I've got it there on the 2 1/8. I'll score one, and rather than scoring the second one, just to make sure I get it right, let me fold this one over. What I'll do is I'll fold it over by hand and make sure the edges meet, like this. And then I know I don't have a little gap down the middle. But it still works, let me show you. It still works if you do it at 2 1/8 and at 2 1/8. So it's just sometimes you have that tiny little gap, and I don't always want a tiny little gap. Okay, so there's our base card. I should be doing that with my bone folder, shouldn't I? Not my fingers. And then for the front layers, I've chosen the very pale, no, that's not the piece. I've chosen the pale pink piece though. That's for the inside. Let me put that one away. So here we go. Here are our two pieces of the powder pink. And they're just going to fit just like this on the front. And they're cut at 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. And I've cut two of them. And let's just attach it. Oops. Let's get that fast fuse moving. I'm actually going to use this for my sister's birthday. So although I'm making it a few days before her birthday, I'm not putting it online until I know she's got it. So we're just going to line this up, make sure it's got a nice little border all the way around. And you'll notice that I undid the card that time, because sometimes when I've got a card like this, I find it quite hard to see where the edge is. So rather than stick it in the wrong place, I'm just making it easy for myself, undoing it and putting it on here. Now, a couple of people asked last time about the paper that I had on here instead of my usual grid paper, and it's just a piece that I've put on the top. I've got my grid paper underneath, and I love this. It's really pretty, and it was something that they had on stage, I believe, and then Stampin' Up in North America had so many left that they were selling them, so I bought a set. The only thing I don't like about it, although it's marked, it doesn't have the numbers for the markings. So often if I'm just working, I'll put it like this so that I can still see the numbers. But yeah, I just wished it had the numbers on. But never mind, it's still pretty. Okay, so there's our card started, and it's got the 2 pieces of layers already done. The next piece we need for our layers is going to be the DSP, and I chose this one because I thought that was really pretty, and it's a little bit wedding-y, but I thought it was still nice for a birthday too. So I cut my pieces, and they're cut at 1 5/8 by 5, and I'm just going to attach them, oops, to the front. Let me see which way round I want that. I'm not sure if there is a right and a wrong way, but I'm just going to put it like that. So I've got that big flower at the bottom, the big rose. Okay. So that's the first piece, and then let's find the second piece. This is such an easy card. It comes together really quickly. Once you've got all your pieces cut, it's really a doddle. Don't tell my sister that though. I don't want her thinking her birthday card was a doddle. Okay, so there we are. There's the gate already started. Next we need a little flap for across the front. If you don't want to do a flap, what you could do is a square and have a square set in the middle, ready to open. I don't have any cut in this colour, but let me just see. I have a black piece cut. So you see, you could change it up by putting a square there, and so that when it opens, the whole square opens. You could do a different shaped rectangle. You could do a different size rectangle. You could do an oval, a circle, whatever you want. But for this one, I'm making the little flap that goes across the middle like this. Sometimes what I've done on this is I've made a belly band of card that goes all the way around, so that you then slide the belly band off and open the card. But for this, I'm just going to make it with the flap. Okay, so my front flap is 4 1/4 by 1 3/4, and I have a coordinating piece at 4 by 1 1/2. Just pop this on here. There we go. And then I wanted to put the word celebrate across the front. I've cut one out in the Grapefruit Grove. I've cut one out in the, I think it was actually Old Olive, in the Myths and Magic glitter pack that we had. I just had some left. And some in the Dazzling Diamonds, because I didn't know which colour I wanted. And I wanted to have it all put together before I decided. So here it is with the Grapefruit Grove, which is nice, but it just doesn't jump out at me. Here it is with the Dazzling Diamond. Well, that looks pretty, doesn't it? That's nice, you can see that. And then this green I thought would coordinate with the little buds of green in here. Oh, I like that too though. What shall I have? I'm going to do the middle before I decide. Let's do the inside. Usually I have a piece of card 4 inches by 5 inches, and then a coordinating piece, white or cream, at 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. But because I'm using these pieces, and you can see I haven't cut all the way along here because I have this long piece here. That would be really nice, look, for a front. You wouldn't even have to do anything, would you? Just cut out. Oh, that would be pretty. But that's not what I've done today. So I've just cut out one of those and trimmed it down. And what I did was I just made my coordinating piece a little bit smaller, but so that I had the 1/4 inch all the way around it. Let's see what size that is. It's 5 by 3 3/4. So it's just a little bit smaller. Instead of being 4 inches, it was 3 3/4. I'm just going to attach that. And I quite like the idea of having these inserts so that you can, you don't have to do much on there. You can just do your message and it would still coordinate with the outside and look really pretty. And I do like the idea of having some cards where you don't do any stamping. And I think for some of my ladies that come to class, they don't really want to do a ton of stamping and colouring. So this is one of those cards that would look really nice. I wonder why I've done it on that dark orange. Oh, I know. Yes, I'm going mad. I was thinking because the piece was smaller, I would put another piece on the inside like this. I just haven't cut it out, so let me just cut that out. I'm not going mad after all. Okay. Let me see what this was. I've forgotten already. It was 5 by 3 3/4. So I'm going to make it only an 1/8 inch bigger. So 3 3/4 plus the 1/8 inch would be there. And then 5 plus the 1/8 inch would be there. All right. I just thought it would brighten up the inside a little bit to have it double mounted. It will only be a tiny weeny little border. But once you get it on the inside, it will just show up a little bit. Make sure I've got it the right way. Yep. I'm going to have those flowers at the bottom. There. See how that just makes it pop out even more? Just that little tiny weeny border. Okay, so let's get on with putting this on and decide what we're going to do. You can put it in the middle, you can put it down a little bit, up a little bit. I just like mine roughly in the middle. See, so that would be the green. That would just coordinate with those and pop those out a little bit. But I think I'm going to do the white, the glitter, glittering diamonds one. Now, you could have cut this out with the adhesive sheet on the back so that you didn't have to use any glue, but I didn't have any adhesive sheet left. It's on my order at the moment and hasn't arrived. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. Excuse me while I reach over. But for doing die cuts and things, the multi-sheet adhesive is fantastic because it makes it like a sticker. Can't get that glue out, so let's find another one. There we go. I'm just putting a few little bits on. But yeah, as I was saying, that multi-sheet adhesive where it's sort of sticky on the back and the front, what I sometimes do is I'll cut a lot of sentiment out, maybe like the happy birthday one or maybe this celebrate one, and then I leave the sticky page on the back so that when I'm ready to use it, I just peel it off and stick it right on without having any glue. And it just cuts out at the same time as you're putting this through the big shot anyway. It's not any extra that you have to do. Okay, so now I'm going to attach this to the front of the card, and we only want it attached here. We don't need anything at the other side or you won't be able to open it. And I'm going to put it on with just some dimensionals, I think. Let me find the right end. So I know it's going to be roughly halfway across at this side. So I'm going to put 2 there, and I'm going to put 1 just offset from them. Take the backings off. Oh, where did that one come from? And then just make sure that I've, look, it's back again. Keeps sticking to my hand, that one. Just want to make sure that I've got this fairly level. I'm just lining it up with the lines on my grid paper here. And there we are. That's my gatefold card finished. So once you open it, it's got that pretty little piece of DSP inside, and it gives me lots of space to write there as well. So I hope you'll give that one a go. It is quite an easy one to make, as you've seen, and once you've got the pieces cut, it does go together like a dream. So thank you very much indeed for watching me, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye bye.